everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about wild cats. And I'm going to show you guys a video about a tiger and a lion. I'm going to separate the video into two parts. One, pet cats. Pet cats are cats that live with you. You need to feed it, give it water, and play with it. They can also get scared. And I got some fun facts. The fun facts are, when you die, a cat eats you immediately. But when you die, a dog is different. It's like this. Oh my gosh, are you reading? And then it eats you. Yeah, kill more. Okay. Now, wild cats. Wild cats are deadly cats. For example, tigers, lions, jaguars, cheetahs. And what are there more? Let's see. Oh, there's a snow leopard, a margay. What did this say, guys? What does this say? It's like margay, black-footed cat, a mountain cat, a clouded leopard, there, and lions. They are one of the most deadliest cats in the world. They are the king of the forest, and tigers are master hunters. I'm going to show you a video of a fight between a lion and a tiger. Let's go. And guys, I need to look at you guys while I'm typing. Oh my goodness, this is so hard. Lion. Guys, can I look at the keyboard and not look at you? Thanks, guys. And also, I'm trying to get a play button, and yeah, my subscribers count is at 24. Yeah, guys, I'm cool. Please subscribe and like. Subscribe if you... Okay, versus tiger. Guys, subscribe if you think the lion's going to win, or if you think the tiger is going to win. Let's go, guys. Oh, these stupid ads. I hate these ads.
It's free, fun, and
Duolingo.
download
Serious right now, bro?
the #1 language learning app.
Alright, are you finally ready to have an answer to this debate? Siberian tiger versus African lion. Well, this is gonna be pretty interesting. Although I think I'm gonna Thanos my likes for this video and possibly my subscriber count, but the truth has to be said about this. There are a lot of merits the African lion brings to the table, like it having a weight advantage. Wait, hold up. Aren't y'all used to hearing that tigers are larger than lions? Well, recent scientific data may actually say otherwise. So stick around to hear more about that. But also, don't worry, the Siberian tiger also has a couple tricks.
This video is going to show you the difference between a Siberian tiger versus a lion. The honest truth. Alright, let's watch it.
Let's pause, but no spoilers.
But when I need to say something, I'm going to pause the video.
So one thing to note is that answering this debate is much like dividing by 0. But yeah, nah, enough of this 50-50 nonsense. I want to give y'all an actual verdict using scientific data and my experience with both of these creatures. And I can already tell there's gonna be war in the comments. And you know what? I say go at it. War away. But of course remember to be respectful. And speaking of that, I would appreciate it if y'all subscribed to my channel and dropped a comment on this video. It will help my channel grow. But enough of the intro, let's establish some ground rules. Let's say this fight takes place in an open field, so both animals are on neutral terrain. Let's also assume both of these animals are wild males in their prime and want to have a 1v1 for territory or a potential mate, you know. Also, I want to note that I'm not going to be talking about recorded confrontation cases, but rather anatomy and fighting techniques. So with that out of the way, let's begin the Siberian tiger versus African lion analysis. Size and physique.
Guys, what is physique? Guys, can anyone, guys, please comment what physique is. If you know what physique is, then please comment down below what it is.
The Siberian tiger, aka Amur tiger, holds a legendary status among big cats. They often hold tales of vengeance against hunters and even control up to leading bears. Well, the latter is debatable, but regardless. Do y'all actually think the Siberian tiger is the largest big cat? Since I know there have been many false reports about their actual size. How big do you think these cats are? 600 pounds? 700 pounds? Well, if you think that, then y'all need to wake up to reality. The truth is that they are actually more around the 400-pound range. This may be a shocker to some of you, since you've probably been hearing that this tiger can grow up to 660 pounds. The key phrase is up to 660 pounds. It does not mean they average that weight. Tigers that reach that size are usually pampered zoo residents with constant access to food, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly the healthiest lifestyle. But in the wild, it's a different story. Historical records show that wild male Siberian tigers average around 475 pounds. And remember, that's historically. Sadly, due to habitat loss and poaching, the current size has shrunk. Today, the average weight falls somewhere between 353 to 418 pounds, with the average being around 389 pounds. So, how does that compare to its mange rival? Well, when regarding the size of the African lion, we tend to think tigers are larger, which isn't always the case. Male lions tend to be taller at the shoulder than Amur tigers, and their mane, of course, adds to them looking a bit larger. Now, what I'm gonna say may shock you, but the average wild African lion tends to be larger than the average wild male Siberian tiger. In fact, one extensive study that measured 152 male lions showed that the average South African lion weighed around 412 pounds on an empty stomach. So when concerning averages, the lion does actually weigh more than the Siberian tiger. But here's an interesting twist. The tiger possesses a longer body despite the lion's weight advantage. So while the lion tips the scales, the striped assassin boasts a sleeker and lengthier physique. Now it should be noted that the size difference isn't too extreme, but it would be a perk and advantageous if everything was equal, which is not the case. Tigers and lions are built differently, and thus they have different strengths. Now let me explain. You can tell a lot about an animal's way of life by looking at their bone structure and muscle composition. Tigers tend to be longer than lions and have a lankier build. This is likely attributed to them having to navigate through their forest terrain and the way they fight/hunt. This is made evident by their longer, more flexible spine and a longer but less robust humerus bone. This indicates that tigers can jump better, accelerate faster, and are a bit more spry in their movements. This also indicates that they are a bit more quote-unquote ambushy and tend to be quick yet precise, much like an assassin. Now, how about the lion? Well, one notable difference is that they are built more bulky pound for pound. Lions tend to have a larger shoulder and neck region when compared to tigers, and this makes sense given the way they fight and their daily lives. Thus, their anatomy makes them a bit more top-heavy. They also tend to have a shorter and less flexible spine compared to the tiger, but it's overall more robust. This implies that lions are more stable and grounded. This is further proven by their humeroidal index, which compares the length of the humerus compared to the other bone lengths in the limb. Essentially, it has more equally distributed bone lengths in the limb, which makes the lion more steady but less agile. Additionally, a lion's limb bone tends to be thicker pound for pound as backed up by this study. Essentially, the lion is more like a warrior. So, overall, the lion actually has a size advantage in this matchup, but not by a considerable amount. Okay, so the Siberian tiger isn't winning the size game right now. But don't worry, size isn't everything.
Khi bạn có vợ thích hóa trang kiểu
Guys, skip the ad. Skip the ad.
The tiger isn't winning the size game right now. But don't worry, size isn't everything, right? How these animals brawl plays an arguably more important role in this fight scenario. After all, they aren't that far off in weight, and the tiger may even things out here. This brings me on to my second point, which is weaponry and fighting IQ. Who fights better, a lion or a tiger? Well, both of these creatures have basically the same weaponry. You know, the long teeth that can kill prey and sharp claws that can tear through flesh. And it also should be noted that their bite strengths are actually pretty much even, that being around 1000 psi. So the main difference is how they fight and where they target when brawling. So, tigers, how do they fight? Well, it's pretty unconventional for cats. They seem to borrow a page from the bear's technique by fighting standing upright. Tigers tend to berate their opponents with their claw strikes, which they aim more towards the upper body region. Think of it like a boxer. In fact, when tigers fight other tigers, they almost always like to attack the upper body portion given their fighting leverage of standing up and being on top. Also, tigers tend to strike quicker than lions initially. And speaking of lions, how they fight is a bit different. Lions tend to stay more grounded and like to drive forward. In fact, out of all the big cats, lions tend to take a more wrestling way of fighting. And like I said earlier, this is further proven by their top-heavy build. This also means they will have an easier time holding down the tiger in a fight rather than the other way around. Lions too like to claw strike, but not as frequently as a tiger. It also should be noted that lions frequently strike using one paw compared to the tiger who usually likes to strike with both paws at a time. This is due to the lion's more grounded fighting technique. However, lions tend to have a bit more weight put behind their strike, thus generating a little more force. Another thing to consider is the placement of their strikes. Lions tend to often aim for the body when fighting. They particularly like to go for the rear spinal area and ribcage region. This again is attributed to the lion liking to drive forward and grapple when they brawl. But strikes by felids are usually used to injure and accumulate wounds rather than being a fight. More inclined to injure and accumulate.
Các bạn ơi, tôi nghĩ là kiểu là tôi quên nói gì rồi. Tôi không biết là sư tử có thể bị đau. Tại vì sư tử là kiểu vua.
Wounds rather than being a final shot. That's where their biting comes in handy. Tigers and lions both like to bite when they are physically dominating. However, lions are actually more inclined to bite more frequently and also have a more quote-unquote rangy area when doing so. For example,
Ôi, tôi nhớ tôi đang định nói gì rồi. Tôi xem cái này lâu quá, tôi hoàn toàn quên tôi đang quay video luôn.
They both favor biting the throat. After all, it's their natural instinct. However, lions do from time to time bite the body region as well, while tigers tend to just go for the throat. Alright, so we got the weapons and techniques down. But how do their fights usually play out? Well, when tigers fight, they tend to be more sporadic, but faster paced and more explosive. They don't often fight very intensely, but more or less just skirmish with each other for a few moments. Lions, on the other hand, tend to be more attentive. Their fights usually last longer, but they aren't as explosive. They also tend to be more determined to actually deliver damage, oftentimes leaving the loser barely able to walk while clinging to its life. Lions also tend to fight more frequently amongst themselves, since they, live in prides and have to constantly defend it. Tigers are more solo hunters, so they try to avoid severe injuries whenever possible, thus giving the reason why lions tend to be more headstrong and confident like a warrior, while the tiger is more calculated, quick, and precise like an assassin. So will the lion's raw might overpower the tiger's deadly accuracy? Well, it's now time to determine a verdict. Alright, we have our stats. So, who would win in a fight between a Siberian tiger and an African lion? Are you ready? This is the moment y'all have been waiting for. So, after recent depictions of both creatures, and having experienced both of them in real life, I would say the African lion would win with very high difficulty. The average African lion would have a weight advantage, along with it being more robustly built. It's more steady and robust pound for pound as proven by multiple studies. And those factors play right into the lion's fighting method of driving forward and muscling through. The Siberian tiger would most likely try to stand up and berate the lion with quick paw swipes when first engaging. It actually might fluster the lion at first, however, I think eventually the lion would brute force its way through it and attack the lankier body of the tiger. The lion then would most likely turn the brawl into a wrestling match, which the lion's top-heavy build and fighting style is just superior at dealing with. Also, the average lion tends to be more headstrong and confident in its movements, given their continuous brawls amongst other pride members and defending their throne. In essence, the lion knows what they're getting into and are more willing to take damage and fight to the end compared to the Siberian tiger. Overall, this would definitely not be an easy fight for the both of them, and I can appreciate the majestic power of the Siberian tiger. However, I think more often than not, the African lion would reign victorious. Alright, so maybe the Bengal tiger would have a better shot, but that's for a
Thôi các bạn, chúng mình đã xem video.
This little guy riding a
Nope. Chúng ta đã xem video về ai sẽ thắng trong cuộc thi, con hổ hay là con sư tử, và họ nói là con sư tử thắng. Ok, các bạn, cuối cùng thì tôi sẽ nói về tôi quên đây video tiếng Anh. Sorry. Okay guys, I'm going to finish the video now. And guys, I got something to mention. Now, Duolingo, I now do French. And hold on a minute. Wait, what? No. bye. Các bạn ơi, bây giờ ở Duolingo tôi đã làm tiếng Pháp. Wow. Duo đang ở trong quả trứng. Phần 2 là Duolingo lớn lên. Bài mới mỗi ngày. Hoàn thành các khóa. Các bạn kết thúc video. Guys, now I've mentioned I do French and Duolingo. Now time to end the video. Please guys, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'm begging you, please subscribe. And goodbye.